What's going on, guys? It's 4:43 in the morning, West Coast time, Tuesday, the 18th of June, 2024. A very frustrated and stressed out Weaver John C. Roseman, California. Apparently, Spectrum took a nosedive somehow with their software because they're not seeing any problems, but I can't seem to log into Spectrum. But we got the internet connection through Spectrum still working. Go figure on this one. So now it seems like I got to contact people left and right. What the hell's going on? I already contacted Spectrum, and a representative tried to do stuff on her end. She also noticed that the internet is working. Got strong signals coming through. I don't see any problems with the box itself. Uh, it's blue light on the Wi-Fi. I don't know what the hell's going on. All right. Tell some people about Spectrum having issues. Alrighty, so I'm just putting the word out. Gotta repost it all over the damn place. Earlier this morning, I was having issues concerning about things I was going through, and I'm really having an issue at this point, guys. I mean, I should be stressing about Spectrum at this point, and I'm just not really, because if the internet's still working, I'm not going nuts over this. So, anyway, I was watching a miniseries on HBO shortly before the system had an issue, hours ago. And the issue being is the show that they got, the Pacific, it's called. It's supposed to be similar to Band of Brothers, except they focus on the Pacific and they focus on the Marines going through a few islands out there. Not to mention they focus about what's happening stateside. When one of the soldiers actually gets the CMH and goes on a publicity tour. And then he's having issues trying to deal with things on their end in life. Meanwhile, back in the islands, they're slugging it out, losing people left and right. And then finally, the war is over, and they get to go home. The last episode on it, part 10 of it, was getting to me more and more. I'm starting to identify more and more with people suffering through PTSD. There may be different levels or different types of PTSD, but it's still the same thing. It still screws you over one way or another. It's called a intensive compressed trauma being inflicted one way or another. Experiences that are testing both body and mind a great deal. That there should be stress points that drive a person nuts, especially when they get reminded of things that they used to like or been overexposed. In the situation concerning about the show itself, they're talking about real life soldiers. And the difference between the Band of Brothers original series back in the late 90s and then you have several years later the Pacific. Band of Brothers still actually had the opportunity to interview real soldiers, and then you see the actors who are talking about what happened to them. And I've watched Band of Brothers so much that it didn't bother me as much. I knew the stories. I think I read the book once. before I lost it. But the Pacific was a bit in different intensity, different level on this one. And the PTSD level on this one was very, very harsh to deal with. Very harsh. Only because I know about the other characters on the Band of Brothers about that, and I didn't feel the same way as I have felt last night watching the whole series. When I saw the last episode, when they came back home, and this is the thing that got to me. One of the characters, name is Sludge. I'm sorry, correction. Forgive me. Sledge. The character being Sledgehammer, being a son of a doctor, and the doctor was a former vet in World War One as the doctor over there. He's seen his fair share. And in this family, there was two soldiers. One went out. One was going to do his job, but the second guy, number two, had a heart murmur, seen it disappeared, so he signs up for the Marines and he goes out. So they meet up on an island, and the older brother, or the first brother, goes back home and tries to adjust to a life. The second one goes through hell. He comes back home, and he's a lot worse because the other brother knows what he went through, but not really, because he didn't go through the same experiences his younger brother did. And the younger brother couldn't understand and couldn't deal with it. He was spaced out, separated, distancing from everybody, trying to get a handle on civilian life after he had been through extensive combat. Now, this is a thing that gets to be on this one, okay? These actors are representing the real warriors as best as they can, including the flare-up, the first flare-up, what they would call combat stress or battle fatigue or PTSD. The activity was the father was bringing his son on a bird hunt, and the son didn't want to use the gun. I mean, he carried it, but to a point, and he just stopped, collapsed, and cried. And I'm thinking to myself, I know that feeling. Keep this in mind, guys. When I was born, I was medically 4F. I came out of my mother's womb. But I already had a life and death situation happening at the age of 4 years old. I've had several accidents in my life. I could have died, and I didn't. Very traumatic things happening. So everything builds up to a point. And I know I was never in a war situation at all, never placed in harm, except I was in harm's way a lot of times. And experiences may be different, but I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a shrink. I'm only going by my own personal observations at this point. So I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to figure this out of comparing my stress, my traumas, to everybody else's, and if they are somewhat nearly in the same category. But I know I'm not military. I never served, so I don't know that. But I know my own PTSD, and I know a flare-up when I see it, or even betrayed by it, because it was flaring me up last night. I couldn't sleep. I slept maybe about an hour, hour and a half, and I'm supposed to have a therapy appointment shortly this morning. So, me going through a lot of experiences in my lifetime, not combat related, but they're still stressful enough. One would think that the PTSD I would recognize would get a lot easier. It doesn't. Never had. When I had gotten to the last one, and this was about a tire dropping on my face and damn near killing me, I couldn't go back into this particular retail store that I used to work for because I started to get shortness of breath, palpitations, sweat. a hesitancy of being in the building that's similar to the one I damn near died in. My body was replaying the whole traumatic injury. I talked about this on my videos. And every time I keep going through this, my body always goes through this mess. When I'm trying to do a recreation, it's going to flare me up a great deal. I'm already feeling the start of it right now as it is. I'm feeling the nervous tension. I'm feeling the stress building up. So I have to maintain the level at this point. But when I was going through this, and I was with my brother at the time, we went to another store, do some more shopping, and that's when I damn near collapsed on the floor. And my brother's watching this thing, not screaming, "Get 911." Only because he knew what the hell I was going through. Now, he told me a long time ago I was uh, going through PTSD. I didn't think he was right until after we got out of the store and we sat down and talked. My brother was a recovering alcoholic. He had 32 years of sobriety before he passed. And in the time he was going to meetings, I was learning more and more history about him than he was willing to share. And I knew that the veterans who kept coming in and out of the meetings, and some of them were actually there for a longer time, actually been through their own hell of Vietnam. They would know what my brother would be talking about. They would talk to him in private outside, and they would have their talk. The thing is, civilians, if they hadn't gone through this stuff, they wouldn't understand it. This, I was trying to get to a point regarding this on the show the Pacific, because the mother of the soldier who was having the PTSD flare up, she didn't understand a damn thing about it. The husband was trying to counsel her, but he was also trying to steer her away from the son because he knew the son had to work his way through this. He had to find his way through this, like his father had right after World War One. Now the son had to do that right after World War Two, and he had to find something to get through. So he decided to go into biology and became a professor. Had kids, had a family, and he passed. When I was watching at the end of this thing, and when I saw the PTSD and then afterwards, my hand was like this. My hand was like this. And then I saw the soldiers that the actors were portraying, and then I saw the brief bio on them. This never left, and I was crying hard. I was crying hard on this one. I felt I felt a connection of sorts. Even as I'm talking about this, I'm feeling the back buildup in myself. I'm feeling it. That this is some things you can describe and other things you can't concerning about the PTSD flare ups. My brother was a vet, but unfortunately he didn't have the honors when he died. But my family loved him a great deal, and a lot of people loved him too. He did his best to do what he could in the right after the service and right after he got clean and sober. He was trying to make amends to anybody and everybody. He was trying to have a life. And it was hard. Hard for him getting through recovery and then living day by day. In his later years, it was getting harder and harder for him to deal with the flare ups. He had to keep going to the doctors for more meds. I don't know if he ever went in for counseling, but I know the meetings that he went to, to the last few years of his life. They were helping him a great deal, but after that, he was dependent entirely of meds before he passed. I've had too many flare-ups concerning about my own loss. I do the channel of a diary of a griever named John Weaver. Because I deal with mourning, I deal with grieving, I deal with loss, PTSD, and God knows what else happens to me. It's usually an emotional lifeboat, but sometimes I think it takes a life of its own. On its own, anyway. And it's important that things I have to share about because I don't know how else to share them. People had a stigma every time there was like this PTSD flare because they don't know how other people will be looking at them and feeling self-conscious about it. I know I had. I mean, how do you talk to other people that you got PTSD? You don't laugh about it. You don't joke about it. It's like, oh, I got PTSD. Ha ha ha. Look at my scar. There is no scar of PTSD. At least not in my case and not in my experience. It's oh, it's all in your head. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, because the mind stores it, transmits it through the body, and you got the crap going through you. I know. A lot of experiences I've gone through that my body actually manifested a few things here and there. Some people would call it white lab coat syndrome, but no, it wasn't it. Rapid pulse, shortness of breath, clammy skin, sweats, issues sleeping, gut issues, nightmares. How about a body reacting to the trauma and you're not even into place, but you're going through it because things are triggered. I've had constant pain in the back and constant pain in the neck, literally. I've had it where I feel like I got a sharp blow hitting me and then everything else is just, it feels like a repeating cycle in me. When I talk about my thing going on all the time, I feel it being replayed over and over and over again. Keep talking to the therapist about it over and over and over again, even doing these videos. I couldn't relate to combat stress because I've never been in that situation at all. But I've been in with my own combat, dealing with life on life's terms. We're supposed to be tougher than that. We're supposed to be. We're told this all the time. I had to be a tough kid. I had to be a tough kid. I had to be a tough kid. My doctor kept telling me. My mother kept trying to tell me about it. My brother never did. He knew. He knew. He had his own few things going on, but when he went into the military and came back out, he was a different person altogether. And after you go through the trauma of different things happening in your life, that actually put that kind of a dent, that kind of a feeling, an image or something that your body was recalling left and right. I mean, hell, how the hell are you supposed to be able to deal with this shit? I don't know. But I'm still having the issues over the damn stuff. Last night I was watching something intense and I was trying to take it to piece, but I got sucked into the damn thing and since I was watching on the streaming, I used a mouse to get past certain issues. And I stopped for a short time, see what's going on, and go back through it again. Just zip, 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 zip. But sometimes in between the zip, zip, I'm watching the storyline. I'm watching the characters. I'm watching what's going on. And here comes the triggers. If I was military, if I had been a veteran of foreign wars, I would have been able to feel something about this. A lot more intensely. When you get caught up in the storylines, when you get caught up in the show that you're watching, and you get so involved with the characters, you think you're having this kind of weird ass connection, and then you see what happens to them at the end. You see the betrayal, not betrayal, portrayal of the character to real life. Yeah, it hits you in the gut. Hits you in the gut on that one. I was tossing and turning last night. I kept seeing the show over and over and over again. I'd seen other shows in my lifetime. I'd seen other shows in my youth. Sometimes they would leave me a little bit of a nightmare, but afterwards, be no problems. This one was different. This one was different. I don't know. Something, a subtlety of it. I can feel it. A lot different than watching other shows I've watched that would give me somewhat nightmares, but that one had a feeling of fear, dread, terror at the same damn time, and waiting for something else to happen or something coming through that damn door. I keep looking at the door and it's locked. Last night, I had to lock it and check the lock. Some people say I'm using my imagination. No, no imagination. No imaginations. I was going to be talking to my therapist concerning about the fire situation that we've been having and what kind of damages, the psychological shit I'd go through. It's not watching the damn screen, you get the PTSD that way. No, 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 it's going through the actual shit itself. You see parts of your home valley or homeland going up in smoke in different portions left and right, and how it makes you feel uncomfortable. Uncomfortable, hell, terrified as hell. Lived in the San Fernando Valley for most of my life. Nearly half my life, anyway. 38 years, what the hell? And then I'd see portions of it go up in smoke and see the fire on the hillsides. Not just the smoke and breathe the shit in. No, what I'd see is the fire on the hillsides and knowing how enclosed the valley is, San Fernando Valley, how many homes we had in front of that and the fire. How close was it to my home when the fire was going on? I always had to look at the damn Thomas guides before we actually had the internet going on. I had to keep looking to see if it was going to be close enough. If it was far enough, I could breathe somewhat. But it was getting too damn close. My fear is it'd be a lot closer than that. I didn't want to go through this shit. I really, really did not want to go through that shit. I come out here to Antelope Valley in '05. And what do we go through? We go through fires and we go through brush fires, scrub brush going up in smoke. The hillside's alive with fire, and you can actually see it. So yeah, you're talking about anxiety level going up the roof here, and my blood pressure already about to kill me at those days. So when we actually had the fires going on, my instinct right now is to run, and I have no place to run to. It's about 30 miles away from home. It's on the other side. But that doesn't drive me crazy. It's the ones closer to home. Lancaster and Rosebud, when they actually get fires, it's like 1 or 2 miles away from home. And then I stress. I stress a big deal on this one. It's not losing the stuff. It's losing the things that are important to me and my dog. I'm not exactly looking forward to getting burned alive or smoked out. Watching that show last night, I was going through the series because I was bored as hell. I'd watched pieces of it before I said, okay, finally, let's just watch the whole damn shit. Let's see how we can deal with this damn thing. I don't know what the fuck happened to me. And I was having major conniption fits of it. Even this morning. And it seems like the fates were trying to be weirdly kind by denying access to my cable service provider. Spectrum crashed, but they couldn't see what's wrong. The equipment's working. I got internet access. I can do the YouTubes. I can see them. I can put them out there hopefully. But this is scaring the shit out of me. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain it. It's too damn early in the morning for me, and I got a few hours before 4. Yeah. I know the fire is being under more control, but there's more acreage that's burned already. We're talking about the fire up in Gorman, and they call it the post fire. I don't know why, but it was scaring the shit out of me still. And I'm feeling nervous. The fight or flight is driving me nuts right now as it is, and I can't deal with it. I think we got something wrong with the internet too, because I'm getting old shit on YouTube. So maybe the internet is having issues with me. Or maybe Google's having issues with me. I don't know what the hell's going on this morning. How to fucking drive me nuts. I'm not apologizing for the language either.